Hi, let us start with Algebra exercise 3.2 and question number 6 today. So in this question, what we are going to say is find the number of zeros of the polynomials represented by their graphs. So till now, we have seen the polynomials as either x square plus 2x minus 1, something like that. But here they have represented these kind of polynomials using the graphs. So you can see so many graphs are here. So we have to find the number of zeros. If the expression is given, we can equate it to 0 and find the polynomials over and the zeros over there. But for this kind, what we have to do? So let's have a quick recap on that. Which means there is some fact like or formula or rule like zeros of the polynomial can be found by the depends on the line or the curve intersecting the x-axis. Which means if suppose you have your x-axis, this is your x-axis and this is your x dash, which is the negative side of x, and this is your y and this is your y dash. So if this is like this and you have your graph something like this, this is the curve. Polynomial curve means wherever your curve is intersecting your x-axis, point to be noted is it should intersect only in your x-axis, this axis. Okay, so let's see, for this graph, if you could see, it is intersecting at this point and it is intersecting at this point and intersecting at this point. So 3 points it is intersecting this curve is intersecting the x-axis. So here if you count the number of zeros, or if you want to write the number of zeros of that polynomial, which will be equal to nothing but 3, which means where it is intersecting the x-axis, sorry. So another thing is this curve is also intersecting your y-axis. Please don't take note of this. This is not into consideration. You have to take only these 3 points where it intersects the x-axis. So this x-axis intersecting is very important. That gives the number of zeros. So with this quick recap, let's move on to our question. So here they have asked find the number of zeros of the polynomial represented by the graph. So as we know, number of zeros means we have to see only our x-axis. So if you could see our x-axis, here we have got 2 points and both the points are intersecting only in the x-axis, and they have an intersecting the y-axis also, but this is not into consideration. Okay, so let us count. That will be 1 and 2. So the number of zeros of this will be equal to number of zeros. The answer is 2. Hope you understood this. Just count where it is intersecting only at the x-axis. That is very important, only at the x-axis. Okay, so the answer for this is 2. Let's move on to the second question. Keep in mind only x-axis. So if you could find here this is our x-axis. This is the negative part which is represented by x dash. So number of points here is 1, 2, 3. So here also, if you could see, we have got 3. But we have got one more over here also. Is this included? No, this is not included because these 3 are in the x-axis, that is in the y-axis. So your answer here is also equal to 3 or 4. 3 only, because you should check only x-axis intersects. Let us move on to the third. If you could see our third question, here this curve is not at all coming to our x-axis. This is our x-axis. Is the curve touching the x-axis? No, it is not at all touching or intersecting or crossing the x-axis. But they have given one point here. Can we include that for the 0? No, we can't include that because that is in the y-axis. So your answer will be, what is your answer? Yes, your answer will be 0, which means the zeros of this polynomial or the graph which is shown here is equal to number of zeros is 0. Okay, there is no zeros for this polynomial. So now if you move on to the fourth question, here can you say, here if you could see what is this point? You remember this is the center which is always represented by O or 0. So which means this is the origin where both your x and y axis meet. Even though your y-axis is coming here, but you have your x-axis also here. See, your y is also coming, your x is also coming. We don't have to bother about your y. Just consider your x alone. So which means there is one number of zeros. But can we include this one and this one? No, because it is in the y-axis. You can't include anything in the y-axis. You can include only in the x-axis. So your answer here is number of zeros of this polynomial is equal to, yes, only 1. Okay. And with this, let us move on to the fifth question. This might seem very difficult, but it is very easy. Just count the points where it is crossing the x-axis alone. Okay. So here can you say, yes, it is 2 because here it is intersecting at y-axis 1 point, x-axis 1 point, and here it is intersecting at the other point. So your answer is number of zeros is equal to 2. So, but we have got one more also here. Is this included? No, it is not included because it is intersecting the y-axis. So the number of zeros for this curve is equal to 2. Let us move on to the fifth part of this question. In this, if you could see that it is intersecting at 1 point only. We are having 2 points that it is intersecting at y-axis at 1 point and at the x-axis also at 1 point. So what we can conclude is, can you say the answer for this? Yes, the answer is number of zeros is 1 because at the x-axis it is intersecting at a 1 point. This is not included because it is in the y-axis. Hope you understood this question. Just consider only the points where it intersects the x-axis alone. Thank you. I'll give a clear note of it in the next slide, or you can refer to the previous slide also. Thanks for watching.